discuss how to future-proof your rental investment properties from future mortgage crisis issues. So obviously the current mortgage crisis is happening now, housing crisis, rental crisis. The economy is going absolutely crazy, but there may be some of you, in terms of your landlords or your property investors or your property managers looking after other people's portfolios, there is an opportunity that perhaps you may actually have sorted out your mortgages, you may have sorted out, all of your properties and increased your rent, so you may be now at an even keel. So we need to put together strategies to ensure that we do not suffer again when another mortgage crisis happens, or when the economy goes down again. So if you are in that situation right now, then perhaps these tips can help you in order to make sure that you will survive and keep your investment portfolio. Let's go. Now, the mortgage crisis in the UK has taken place mainly because of the increase in interest rates, the huge increase in inflation. Lots of homeowners and property investors have had defaulted on making their mortgage payments. Property prices have gone down slightly, rents have increased significantly. The increase of the living cost at the moment, so things like food has increased in price, and fuel has increased in price. Delivery of items, all sorts of things have really gone astronomical in terms of pricing for us here in the United Kingdom. And obviously what we need to do is work out some sort of strategy to enable us to keep our property portfolios. Let's discuss some steps in order to help you protect your portfolios and your interests. So the first thing is to make sure that you keep on top of property trends. I'm not one to watch the news specifically, but there are opportunities for you to be able to keep on top of the property market by getting access to email subscriptions, checking out specific property websites online, getting in touch with specific news channels that have property related information, and not necessarily even just property, but economy information, financial information. All those kind of things play on what will affect the property market. So long as you go ahead and you make sure you're updated on the economy and the situation that's happening within the UK, then you obviously will help you to make sure that you stay ahead of any financial crisis that's about to come later on down the line. So long as you keep on top of all the news, all the important facts that enable you to be fully informed about the market, then you can make strategic plans before those things affect you specifically. Now, what you need to do is diversify your investment portfolio. Now, I've worked with a few financial coaches and things like that, and they will always tell you, do not put all of your eggs into one basket. So if you are a property investor and you have lots of HMOs, then consider perhaps getting commercial property, or even consider getting single let property, or maybe not even property at all. Maybe consider getting something else like financial investments, stocks and shares, and investing in ISAs and things like that. Putting all your money into property is not always the best way. Perhaps consider buying other businesses. There are lots of gurus on YouTube, who I have found myself, who tell you about all different types of strategies in order to just diversify your money. So if one area isn't working so well, you have another area which can boost you financially. So consider that as an option for yourself. In case you don't know, I am Tanya Day. I'm a virtual assistant and online business manager. I work with property managers, real estate agents, lots of property professionals. I work with them behind the scenes in their back office, working in their administration, their customer service, and giving them strategies and hints to enable to push their business forward, so they don't necessarily have to work in their business, but can work on their business, money generating tasks, and working on things that they thoroughly enjoy. Build an emergency fund. Now, it's not very often that I hear many people talk about building an emergency fund. Building an emergency fund for you personally, and then having a separate building fund for your business. Now, for you personally, if anything goes wrong in terms of, if you're an employed role, if you lose your employed role, or you're not able to have a large amount of money coming in to you personally, regardless of all of your business ventures, then at least you know that all of your bills are paid. If your children are going to private school, they're going to keep going to private school. You have food that you're able to cover, your insurance, your cars. 3 to 6 months of insurance, 3 to 6 months of emergency fund is a really good idea. And if you keep it into an account that is easily accessible, should you need it in whatever case the emergency is, then it's easily for you to get access to. As a business emergency fund, if something happens like, exactly the mortgage crisis, which is happening right now, where some landlords are having to top up themselves their mortgage payments because their rent does not cover, then this wonderful package of money is sitting there and ready to be used for times like this. If, for example, you have an issue with a boiler, or there's a major flood, or God forbid something happens to the property that explodes, which is what happened to Galpins Road in Thornton Heath in the United Kingdom. It's really, really unfortunate. Those people are still waiting for compensation now. But if something like that happens, you and your family are well protected and cared for, and so are the tenants. If you have a property portfolio, your tenants are looked after, they're cared for. Obviously, if you have insurance, then that can cover that also. But then that little buffer of money can really come in handy if something, terrible happens. You always have that pot of money. So save an emergency fund for business and for personal. Be flexible and willing to adapt in a situation. Now, obviously, I talked about, diversifying your investments and, your strategy for your portfolios, and, thinking about doing other things with your money. But if you are able to adapt and be flexible in a situation such as right now, the mortgage crisis, you have to look at the numbers and take your emotions out of it. So if there is a property that you have which is not bringing in the money that it should, then you need to consider selling it, and the money, if you get any equity out of it, you then can consider using that money for something else. If something isn't working in your business portfolio, regardless of what kind of business you have, you just have to be mentally clear and see if you can adapt. Definitely attend network meetings, definitely have people that you can speak to and network with that are more informed than you, that can give you information, that can let you know what they're doing with their portfolio, with their businesses. Because as much as you can be informed by, reading things and watching things and, reading things online, there's nothing better than communicating with people who are in the situation that you're in, or are doing better than you are in terms of, perhaps mentors or coaches who can tell you to change your strategies and change and mix in order to make sure you're not affected too much by the financial losses. These strategies are created today for you to ensure that you can change and diversify in a market that has, a mortgage crisis or any sort of economical downturn. Hopefully you got some hints and tips today from the video, and it will give you lots of advantages in the current situation as well as in future situations. Please subscribe to the channel and give this video a thumbs up.